Off to a great start.
Yes.
Probably.
Now. Yeah. Okay. Rerun the intro. Hello, we're doing this again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Super Deluxe Gamescast. It's Thursday, July 14th, and I'm getting like this weird sense of deja vu. But Derek,
you can't ask for anything after that. I'm sorry, you can't.
It's all part of the flavor. I'm gonna do it anyway. Just a reminder to anybody watching and listening. As things kind of calm down, we do plan on resuming travel to conventions and also, to other places, like gathering together for Extra Life this year. And your contributions help us do that a great deal. We do have a Patreon, which you'll find a link for in the chat. We've got your sub here on Twitch allows us to do that as well. We don't personally make any money off of this podcast. Everything that you guys are free to donate, free to sub, free not to, but we don't actually keep any of that. This is all going towards like equipment and travel expenses. So your contributions are greatly appreciated. And also, if you want to donate to some good causes, you'll find a link for our merchandise in chat as well. We got shirts and hoodies and mugs, and every single dollar that you spend on that goes towards one of various charities, be it Black Girls Code or the Trevor Project or Able Gamers or Take This. So no, like I told you guys, I was gonna write a script, and you're like, "No, man, just wing it, just wing it." Man, whatever. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good night tonight. Guys, how's everybody doing?
There we go. I'm doing pretty good. I was apparently muted this entire time.
Wow.
OBS really did not want to reconnect to my my interface.
That is wild.
So I apologize. Everybody else is fine. Everybody
else is fine. Derek, this might be the only mistake you've ever made. Hosting
that is like not even close to true. But
well, I didn't mean like in life. I just meant like as like running the podcast. I mean,
still not even close to true.
All right. Jeff in chat is Jeff's already shit posting in chat. No, it's been an interesting week. We definitely got some positive video game stories to talk about this week. A few good things have happened this week, and I know that
a couple corporations have done good things, and I'm not sure how to handle that.
They're still not your friends.
No, absolutely not.
Like, absolutely do not trust corporations, but a few corporations have actually chosen to make good choices this week and do the right thing.
They've chosen the path of nonviolence.
And in this fucking hell world, in this industry that can be completely soul-sucking for anybody who isn't a straight white male, that is something that is much needed and very refreshing. And we're going to get into all of that. But first, as always, we're going to talk about what we've been playing.
Yeah.
And I got a special something to talk about, so I'm not going to go first. Derek, since you are the host, why don't you fulfill
We're technically
some
all
duties?
Hosts in every way that matters.
Well, you're hosting the podcast.
I am the dipshit that's running OBS.
You're not a dipshit, Derek. Don't say that about yourself.
Did you catch the beginning part of this show?
I choose to not to acknowledge it. Derek, what are you playing this week?
I've just been playing more Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Honestly, I got to play exactly 90 seconds of Power Wash Simulator earlier before I had to stop and got interrupted and working on dinner. So I'll let you all know how that goes when I can put maybe another 90 seconds in.
I've heard it's very satisfying.
I wouldn't fucking know. But like I said, I have been playing more.
I'm just looking at it right now because I hadn't heard of this. It's got a 10 out of 10 rating on Steam on 19,000 reviews. So, I mean...
It sounds,
That sounds like the Steam.
Gamers
Steam
have
reviews.
never been wrong about anything. So.
To be fair,
for sure.
I've watched enough like oddly satisfying like power washing and pool cleaning and rug cleaning videos on TikTok that it's probably up my alley. But no,
Oh, I'm sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've been playing more Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And I kind of mentioned last week that Sunbreak's good, but it's not really fixing my issues with Monster Hunter Rise, which is
I've heard people complaining about the end game in Sunbreak.
also
as well.
a good. Well, it gets complicated because people bitch about the end game in Monster Hunter games, but people bitch about the end game in every Monster Hunter game. And just more so since they've become more wide audience because people want them to be these endless service games, and they're not really built to do that, you know? But the thing that kills me is, so Monster Hunter World had some issues, right? I think it was visually desaturated, kind of unimaginative with some of its weapon and armor designs. I think that its main town was a pain in the ass to navigate. I think that some of the regions, especially the ancient forest, were a complicated mess to navigate where you ended up not bothering to learn the area and just followed the glowy green line. But Iceborne, the expansion of Monster Hunter World, fixed a lot of my issues with World. It added a lot more monster variety. The new region, the Hoarfrost Reach, was really good. The new town was really good. There were some excellent, I mean, some of the best fights in the series came in Iceborne and the post-release like support. Rise is really solid as a, hey, Britt!
Hello.
Hi, Brittany. Hi, Britt.
Yeah! Now we got a almost full crew.
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
If we're gonna miss anybody, at least it's Finn.
CJ's gotta go.
I got a dip.
Wow.
Something just came up.
Wow.
something just came up. You guys have a good night.
Double fucking shade. Holy
The
shit.
fucking CJ, I'm gonna have to tell you something real quick. I'm gonna need you to have a little bit more faith. All right. I got a plan,
Faith,
and
I have a
it's
plan.
gonna.
Only the feeblest of men work for the government. Only they're all in the back of my head. Sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
It's okay.
I got a plan. All right.
What's the plan?
Yeah.
Plan. We're going to
just-
Tahiti.
We're going to Tahiti, and you just have to have faith that it's gonna fucking happen. All right. You don't question it. You don't judge choices. You just gotta have faith.
There's a
right?
whole sub conversation here that I'm not even catching.
You don't get the lore.
I'm here for 3 things tonight. All right.
Oh,
Arthur
boy.
Morgan, having faith, and lumbago. So that's why I'm
I
here.
got a lumbago.
Wait, hold on. Who's Arthur Morgan?
You'll hear.
Oh my God, Red Dead
No, you'll hear
Redemption,
about
man, come on.
John.
No, John Marston was Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
John.
Okay, hold
Oh.
up, John.
Doing,
So here's a
John.
little fun fact: there are 2 Red Dead games, both of which.
Yeah, I know. I played Red Dead Redemption 2 for like 2 hours and it bored the shit out of me, so I stopped playing it.
Yeah, then you played as Arthur Morgan. You know who he is.
I don't remember his fucking
know who
name.
Arthur is.
I don't
What are you
remember his
talking
fucking
about?
name. That's how much I cared about it. I can't remember this
Oh
guy's name.
my god.
How can I remember-
Revolver.
All right,
I
Derek,
like. I want to make. I want to make.
talk
a
about
good-
Monster Hunter.
Talk about fucking Monster Hunter, man, please. I wanna hear about
Okay.
fucking Monster.
Monster Hunter Rise is a solid like arcadey action game, but I think it's trivialized a lot of what made Monster Hunter special to me. There's no hunting, no anything. You don't have to learn the map. The map almost doesn't matter. You just drop in, you zip immediately to the place where the monster's marked on the map. You are nearly invincible if you're good at the game because the wire bug mechanics are completely broken and completely bust balance in your favor. Which, like, okay, that's made it more accessible to some people, but it's ruined challenge for me. And I wish that there was ways to make the game easier for some folks without making the game play itself on some level. And
Yeah, that's good,
Sunbreak did not do what Iceborne did. It didn't meaningfully change any of my issues with Rise. So I'm enjoying it. Some of the fights are good. I like the switch skill system where you can actually swap between like kind of skill loadouts, but I mean, it's just more Monster Hunter Rise, which was a too easy game with, you know, way more of the steps of Monster Hunter stripped out entirely. Prep doesn't matter. You know, the environments don't matter. It's fine. I just want Monster Hunter World 2.
You know what's
Anyway.
interesting about what you were saying, Derek, is that like most of the people I know who are huge Monster Hunter fans are either really high on Iceborne and so-so on Sunbreak, or the exact fucking opposite. I don't know anyone who like loves the shit out of both of them equally.
I mean, I like it. It's just like the problem is that they're the main series and the portable sub-series, which it's the same with Generations. Like, I didn't like Generations. It was too arcadey, and you got all these stupid super moves and way too many like invincible defensive options, and it was just like easy and arcadey. And I like that bigger, slower, that better sense of scale. You know, I gotta tell you, I like the cave punk aesthetic of Monster Hunter, and I'm getting tired of the B team going like, "Hey, can we set this in a fucking Japanese village again?" Like, you know, it's a little too anime for me as somebody who watches anime.
Ooh, wow! I was gonna say that's
Wow, if
I
it's
know.
too anime, for you,
Monster Hunter's not
Ew.
supposed to be that anime. It's
Oh, 'cause
supposed, to be.
it's supposed to be like a Western fantasy deal, is it?
Yeah,
Nice
yeah. I
little
mean,
deal.
it's literally it's like cave and diesel punk and fossil punk. Like that's the aesthetic of Monster Hunter, you know. And you can look at like Monster Hunter. All the mainline games have a consistent sort of style, even as they change location. And then Portable Third and Generations and Rise are like, hey, what if everything was just fantasy Japan? And it's a different series entirely, you know? I don't know. Anyway, people love the game, and I'm okay. It's buying time for me until the new one that I care about comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get Iceborne.
I'm gonna spend more
2 or-
time in Power Wash Simulator probably once I get the chance to play it.
I fucking can't wait. I'm actually
The
I'm
real
gonna play
monster you're hunting is the grime on your porch.
Yeah.
It takes some real skill.
Clean the
Brittany.
gunk off my driveway.
Brittany, what are you playing this week, my friend?
nothing.
Nothing. So,
Next,
what you're saying is you're a fake gamer. Is that the takeaway
100%, and that's on you guys because I never claimed to be a gamer, 100% gamer when I came on the podcast.
I didn't see the word
so-
gamer on her resume, so
That's right.
I will say this though, Brittany, your new piercing is great.
Thank you.
yeah.
It looks fantastic.
It fits, I believe.
It does.
It
It
does.
does.
It's also an arms race because like now you've gone and like embraced the hot bitch energy, and it's like,
That's right.
how do I compete? I really can't do the wild piercings thing. So
Is a septum a wild piercing?
I don't think so.
probably
Not-
is somebody's boss in an office.
Like,
yeah,
maybe like 10 years ago, but not anymore. Like,
yeah, it's
I don't
not.
think so.
But
You know what's funny? It's so many people. When I first got my nose ring, there was like, as long as you don't get like the middle part of your nose pierced, that's fine, go for it. And I was like, but I kind of like the middle part of
Yeah.
the nose pierced.
we're eventually going to be at the point where it's like, yeah, as long as your Prince Albert isn't on full display, then
Yeah.
that's not that weird.
Britt, I also just want to say that I know that you have been going through a lot and you've been doing some self-care recently, and I just want to say that I'm really proud of you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
You seem like your demeanor, like, I don't know, you seem just a little happier. And
I am. Thank you.
and that you've got like a glow about you, and that just as somebody who really
That's
cares
just
about
the
you.
new lights that y'all bought me.
Yeah,
Well, that's part of it. Yeah,
Literal glow.
that
That's
the
literally
viewers
part of
bought.
Oh,
that's literally part of it. But no, Britt, I am very happy that you're taking care of yourself, and I could not be
Thank
prouder
you.
to be your friend.
oh.
All right, Jeff, let's go.
Where are we going?
I don't know, my house apparently for Extra Life.
What you been playing, bud?
What have you been playing,
Um,
Jeff? Jeff, do you have a sunburn
Probably.
on your
I
on your
don't know.
face?
Do I?
Your face is looking a little red.
I'm like really warm. I was outside in.
That's just the
well,
whiskey or bourbon, whatever he's
Oh, it could be.
drinking.
It absolutely could be.
No, I was outside like detailing my car for 4 hours in the sun, so it could be.
Oh yeah, dude, you got some sun on your face, man.
Could be that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't get a lot of sun living up here, so. No, I've been. I'm gonna preface this. Not that I don't feel like I need to justify myself. I'm just
Of course
prefacing
not.
it with a little context. So I stopped buying Ubisoft games back in like 2019, I think. So it's been a hot 3 years since I played any of their stuff. And I'm not boycotting it. I just decided that I didn't like their shit and I didn't want to really support the way those games were made until they did something. And it's like we've talked about it before on the Activision Blizzard stuff. It's like it's been 3 years. you know, what's happening, what's going on, where are we going with this? I don't really know. You know, I don't know what more I could do. I don't know if anything I'm doing is making a difference. I still don't feel good about buying games that are made at the expense of the employees, mental health. So I've decided I'm easing myself back into it. I'm still not buying their new products, but I don't really have a problem buying a game that was made 15 or 20 years ago. So I never played the old Assassin's Creeds. I jumped into the series with Black Flag, and then I played Syndicate, Origins, and then Origins. I loved it, and it just like I got like 1,000 hours out of it. I was like, I never want to touch one of these games again. I looked at Odyssey and felt exhausted. But I know the old games are very different, and to be honest, I wasn't that. I think I tried a bit of them, and you know, they're dated a little bit. They're a little rougher around the edges, a little janky playing. But I've heard a lot of good things about specifically the Ezio trilogy. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, let's give it a shot. So I've been using my Xbox playing on backwards compatibility. 1 and 2 and kind of all that trilogy. They're all FPS boosted to 60. They run at either 1080 or 4. So they all look and run really great. So I bulldozed my way through the first game. Definitely really rough, but I'm really glad that I played it. I can appreciate the ambition and the scope of this game for when
I'll
it
bet
came
that
out.
shit does not hold up in 2022 though,
You know
like from
what?
a
It's
gameplay perspective.
I'm pretty immune to old. Like I bring it up all the time. I go back and play Morrowind, and man, that shit sucks to play. You know, if there's a few things that really hook me into a game, I can put up with some really painful suffering in terms of the controls and things like that. And you know what? There's a lot to like about the first game. I love the atmosphere. I love that I was able to play most of the game without actually even engaging in combat. It's really a lot of just escaping the guards and kind of figuring out how to run away and hide. And then, of course, you know, the lining up the actual assassination. But yeah, I didn't feel like I had to fight through a lot of the game until the very end. And yeah, I appreciated the setting. Like the Crusades, really unique time period, really unique setting, like the Holy Land. Um, you know, I don't know what like the graphics are rough, the voice acting was extremely rough. But as an intro to the series, I'm glad I played it because I jumped into Assassin's Creed 2 last night. And I think I mentioned on the last podcast I was on, I played through the Uncharted games, and I mentioned that huge jump from 1 to 2. And holy
Talk
shit,
about a
yeah,
jump in quality, yeah.
the jump from Assassin's Creed 1 to 2 is I don't know if it's as big as Uncharted, but it's up there. It's unreal, the production values.
Well, also Ezio is just such a much more interesting character than Altair.
Altair is barely a character.
He's barely a character. It's weird though because Assassin's Creed, they have like the series is so vast, but they have like one game a year since 09 and
something like that. Yeah,
20 and skipping 2016 and 2019. But it's like that series has had multiple big jumps. I mean, like the jump from Revelations to 3 is pretty significant, and then the jump from 4 to Unity was pretty significant, and then the jump from Syndicate to Origins was significant. You know, even the jump from Origins to Odyssey is pretty significant. It is interesting that's like one of the few, like, what is it, like we all, you know, bitch and moan about Call of Duty you know, being basically the same every year, but it's like it is interesting that there's like there's one action adventure franchise that's every game's what, like 100 hours long at this point, that can still manage to like jump, and there's still something they're trying new with everyone. Doesn't always work. I was exhausted playing Valhalla for review.
I played 1 hour of Valhalla on Ubisoft Plus, and that was enough. But I think the last thing I'll say is, like, aside from the gameplay stuff, I think the thing I'm enjoying most and the most special thing is it's just like a reminder that I mentioned this in the Discord, that Ubisoft used to actually make stories in games. They used to make games with real characters that you cared about, with actual cutscenes, progression, you know, a sense of narrative. Before they switch to what they do now, which is just every game's a giant sandbox with paper thin faces and names, just linking it together. And you know, it works for some games, but it's so refreshing to just go back to a different time when they actually cared about telling a story. And that's no disrespect to the developers or anything like that. Of course, I'm sure some of them want to, but the result hasn't been there in a long time, and it's yeah, I'm loving it.
Jeff, I will not have you disparage the future Game of the Year Skull and Bones releasing this fall. for all
It's the
for
same
all
day
major
as
platforms.
God of War Ragnarok.
That poor fucking game.
my
Like,
Bones isn't real.
that
This
that
isn't one of those cases where it's like, no, the audience is pretty like varied among both. No, there's like a clear like Venn diagram, or like there's a clear like overlap there. Yeah, that game's getting fucking.
here's the thing though, CJ. Here's the thing. I do have to take the L here because I did say for years that Skull and Bones was never coming out. I did. And I was like, this game's never fucking coming out, and it's been quietly canceled, and yet here we are. I don't expect it. I don't expect it's going to be any good, but it's definitely a fucking thing that's coming out. And I just like releasing this game on the same day as God of War Ragnarok is literally the definition of taking it out behind the woodshed. Like it's just sending this game out.
Somebody play the Roblox
you never
oof
know.
sound effect. Like
No, you never know. Origins dropped the same day as Mario Odyssey and
You know what? I
Wolfenstein
bought
2.
Origins instead of Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
Although, you know what?
That's a bad choice. That's a bad
Someone
choice.
in chat actually made a really good point. Skull and Bones got the worst logo downgrade I've ever seen. Yes, it did. That
What
logo
is Skull
was
and Bones?
Skull. Oh, so Britt, Skull and Bones.
it's
Ubisoft's
Ubisoft
the
Sea
bone
of
in our head?
Thieves.
And then the bones.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be fine.
No, I just
I mean,
think
it's being
that,
released because it's legally obligated to be released.
Yeah.
Like we all know the
Yeah,
story
it'll be
behind
fine.
it.
Justin fucking got it. Justin nailed it.
Willie Nelson IRS tapes. Oh fuck yeah, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be game of the year. No, it's gonna be game.
It's not gonna. I mean, like,
100%.
why? So this is my thing, right? It's like it's a Sea of Thieves like sandbox game. Like
It's
it
not
was
though. You literally only are on the boats, and Sea of Thieves, like you can get off and explore. Like this is just
Get off,
You're
boat
just
get
on the
off
boat.
and Skull and Bones. You can get off the boat.
You can only wander around a town to buy stuff for your boat. Like there's no actual exploration, like no combat, nothing. It's just boat stuff.
But you can fight other boats though, right? Like you can fight.
Yeah, but you can't like
No, you
board
just sail.
them or anything.
You can't board them. Oh, that's
No.
kind of lame.
Oh.
Like I actually did not know
It's
that.
literally
Yeah, that's so good.
just boat combat.
I
And
think
sail.
I'm
I would-
failing to understand what the point of this game is.
Derek, I would love to know the
because
development story behind this game.
They were like, everyone loved.
I mean, there's a
Assassin's
big
Creed
story about it, John.
Is there? I must not have. I must have
Yeah,
missed this.
like they've wanted to cancel it multiple times, but because of like the government subsidies that they got from the Singapore government, they legally
That's
cannot
always
cancel
a
it.
great
I'm
sign.
They've
surprised
rebooted it like 4 times.
They couldn't just be like, fuck it, we'll make it. Well, like, okay, Assassin's Creed 1 was born out of a canceled like Prince of Persia like reboot. They couldn't rebrand this into an Assassin's Creed game, or they couldn't be like, all right, this is a Black Flag remake now, and that's it. Like, there's no way they could work around it.
Like no, actually, the whole article is pretty damning. It sounds like working conditions are also really bad at that studio.
Oh man, so
Um,
guys, Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to be an absolute mess then. Holy
Don't-
shit, because those
don't
working
hurt
conditions
me.
were even worse.
Oh my god.
Michelle Ancel
Don't
had
make
to,
me
like, be,
think
like,
about Beyond Good
I mean,
and
at
Evil
least they
2.
can.
My heart
If they
isn't.
have to, they can legally cancel Beyond Good and Evil 2, which they
Yeah,
cannot
but they
do with Skull and Bones.
Like yeah, that's we've wanted to cancel this game so many times, but damn those government subsidies. This game's gonna be a fucking banger, I'm telling you. All right, Justin.
I've mostly been dabbling around with Destiny. I finished up a season pass for the first time, so I'm very satisfied with that. I got both, and I got the title as well for this season. I mentioned before, but I really, really enjoyed this season and the way the storytelling has evolved. I think it's just such a massive step up for Bungie, and I think it's like a really good template that I hope other games as a service titles actually follow, because it definitely makes it more engaging, and it feels almost like tuning in every week to see the next episode of a TV show. And you know, there's stuff to grind if you want to, but like if you literally just wanted the story, it would be maybe 45 minutes a week just to check in and do the story stuff, which I think is really great. So yeah, I did that. I've also been replaying some of the old Call of Duties just because I've just kind of in that mood, and you know, I can just download them and play them. So I've been downloading 200 plus gigs just to play through campaigns that I can finish in an afternoon.
Did you
The game even
download
tells
Black
you,
Ops
hey, you
3?
finished this, delete it.
Yeah, like I downloaded Cold War, and it actually, like, because I had my save backed up. It's like, congratulations, you completed the campaign. Did you know you can delete this? And it would save you 58 gigs of data. And I'm like, I downloaded it just to play the campaign. No, the experience with these games sucks now. Like, Modern Warfare, like, is literally like you have to download the same client for Modern Warfare as you do for Warzone. So like you have to like dig through menus upon menus to even find the campaign. They changed when it cuts to the logo at the end of the game. They changed it to the Warzone logo. You know, Cold War gives you the prompt to delete the campaign if you want to save space. Like, and both of them also just have giant ads for Modern Warfare 2 and stuff. It just sucks. Like, it doesn't even feel like the same game that I bought years ago. Like, I just want the menu to look the same, or, you know, the icon on the screen to look the same. It just, I don't know. It feels very disrespectful to like the work that went into the game and like the people that don't want to be in the, you know, usual annual like Call of Duty churn or anything. I don't know. It just sucks. It bummed me out. But yeah, I've just been doing that and then immediately deleting them. Like, it's been, you know, an afternoon, and then I delete them after I spent all the time downloading them. So that's what I've been up to. Also getting a new job. I did that. That was a thing.
Congratulations.
So,
that's the real highlight this week.
I'm happy about that. Although I was like so excited to put in my 2 weeks at my current job yesterday, and then like it sunk in. I'm like, shit, I've got 2 more weeks of this fucking place.
At least you know the, you know, like the light. You know, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel now. So that's what's
God
important.
fucking help the next person to yell at you.
I mean, I got yelled at literally the entire time I was at work yesterday.
Some kid steps out of line, tell him Santa doesn't exist or something. Fucking ruin his day. It's not your fucking something. Did I ever tell you guys what I wanted to do when I quit GameStop? I wanted to tell people, yeah, look, we'll have PS5s in 2 weeks from now. Just call us in 2 weeks. Call us 2 weeks from now. We'll have it. There'll be a rain check and everything.
Damn, man.
We'll have.
Dude, that's deranged.
Like, it's one of the most evil plans I've ever.
Good to know we can never let CJ off the podcast.
That's terrible.
Guys, this is all my fellow right-wing friends come storm the chat of this great podcast.
No, don't do that. They'll fucking do it. Like, please, no. That's the last fucking thing we need in chat. CJ, what have you been playing this week? And then I'll go.
So first things first, I've been playing the Klonoa collection for review.
How is that?
I haven't finished Klonoa 1 yet because I've been distracted by another game I've been playing, which I got to get back on. No, look, no one told me it was basically Yoshi's Island with like this incredible like the sense of like emotion and the sense of like just like pure wonder. It's obviously geared toward the first game, at least. It's obviously geared towards like really young children, specifically because this is a port of the Wii remake of the PS1 game.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's not a game about like the platforming or like any complicated puzzles or combat. It's really just about admiring like the aesthetic. It's about admiring just that sort of sense of wonder. It's incredible. Being able to throw enemies towards the screen and then on the other side, it's great. I love they have that weird, jumbled up like Banjo-Kazooie language for all their characters, but like delivering like the most brutal lines in the world. Like, man, it hits on some heavy stuff, and I'm like, Jesus, it comes out of nowhere. It's on Derek. It's like no one warned me about how like brutal this game would
be. I told you you'd cry. I'm always in love. The only two styles of games that hit for me now are online multiplayer games and like platformers.
So it's been nice to play something I've never played. I feel bad though. This game isn't marketed that heavily. Like, it wasn't available for pre-order the day before. Like,
seems to be doing pretty good though, at least.
That's all that matters. Yeah, that's all that matters though, because I think Namco should get back into the platforming game. We're getting Pac-Man World next month, which is great. I hope we see more, because it's just the Souls games, a few fighting games, and then and Namco Museum collections. I really do.
So many licensed anime games.
Yes, you're right.
I would love to see platform games make a big comeback across the board.
It sucks. It's like what we have like Activision had a Crash game in 2020 and it was great, and then that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really would like more of the bigger studios to kind of drop games in this genre. So yeah, Klonoa 1 so far great. I'm gonna finish it soon. and then I'll jump into the second one. I'm kind of bummed the Game Boy Advance game wasn't included either. But I hope that's like a separate.
I don't remember
down
enjoying
the
the GBA game very much.
I see. I
Maybe
never
I'm
played
drunk.
any of the Klonoa games. I know they're very highly regarded though.
They are. It's like a weird cult, like a weird cult following because again they're pretty niche. But I'm enjoying them. I'm enjoying them a lot. And then of course, I rarely replay games, but like rarely means rarely. The last time I truly replayed a game was like my third playthrough of TMNT's Shredder's Revenge. Like the week I reviewed the game.
That game is
And,
so fucking good,
bro,
dude.
phenomenal. It's so great. So I rarely replay games, and I rarely replay games that take a lot of time because I always warn people like, oh, the second I decide to replay something like Phantom Pain, no one will hear from me, or something like that. Because I put like 200 hours in that game. So then something came over me. I decided, all right, I'm gonna boot up Red Dead 2 again because I clearly want to like neglect all my social responsibilities and I want to do something outside of work. And man, I still love it. It's my first time playing it in 4K since I'm playing on my PS5 on a 4K screen. I started it over completely, which sucks because I think since I've last played, they patched like a really good exploit to get a lot of money, and I'm really bummed. But overall, it's still an incredible game. Like I'm in like the first like 10-15 hours. It moves at like a really glacial pace. Like it's incredibly slow, but it's so rewarding in that time because you're introduced to so much that once you finally get the freedom to just run around, it's so worth it. I always talk about how video game stories feel like they're a huge step back from where like film and television is. That when something comes along that actually feels like it was written not just by people, but like people who appreciate different kinds of art, because like this isn't just based on like a pastiche of like a bunch of movies. It's based on like art. It's based off like landscapes, or it's based off something. Like, there's more. There's emotionality. I'm consistently impressed. I still love the fact that there's a button to like that lets you interact with every single item in the world, and it's not being copied more in games. It boggles my mind because it's just like you hold down this one trigger to pick up a tin can and examine it, and something as like simple and something as just like detailed as that blows my mind because I'm such a fucking like fan of shit like that, or a little freak for like this amount of detail. I got as far as like any new updates or new revelations, nothing else, just more of me for like seeing the foreshadowing things because I finished the game well after I first started. I took a break and then I got back to it and I didn't pick up on some things. I got mauled by a cougar, but not in a fun way. And I was like, I was saving that one. I was saving that one.
Jesus Christ, CJ.
No, it's just incredible. I think it's my favorite game of last gen. I think, and I know Jeff, you were talking about like that you and Britt felt the same way. It's something special, and I'm it's become one of those things now where like I'm at work thinking about it. I'm texting everyone I love about it. I haven't felt this way about a game since I first played through Red Dead 2. I'm going back into that unemployment mode where I'm like, I don't want to go to work. I just want to sit and play Red Dead 2. I don't want to be on a podcast. I just want to play Red Dead 2.
And yet you're here, CJ.
Yeah, I'm here, and I'm looking at my my PS5 over there. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I've been playing. Oh, also, like I played Battlefield with Justin today.
Just really quickly on Red Dead, CJ. Like I totally agree with you in terms of like what you. I try really hard not to be like a snob, but it's same like video game writing is like different than other mediums in a lot of ways. And it's not always a bad thing. Like it's okay for a video game to just be a video game video game.
Yeah.
But a lot of times characters don't talk like real people. They talk like video game characters, and that's fine. But you know, some stories require something more. And I think there's very few out there that really feel like they're written naturally and acted naturally. And sound like real people. Like this could be a real person that I'm interacting with. And I get that from Naughty Dog games sometimes, and I get that from Red Dead Redemption 2 and you know, a lot of the supporting cast in there, but Arthur Morgan especially is like just it really grounds you in that world and sells the entire experience in a way that most games couldn't hope to achieve.
I usually scoff when people compare certain games to certain movies, but I remember reading a review where they compared to something like this game to something like The Sopranos or something like the Godfather trilogy, and I'm like, oh, I agree. There's nothing. It's almost Shakespearean in a way, the way it's written. It's like this this really intense thing like that. There's no exposition dumps. There's no
Well,
like,
and you mentioned the pace, the glacial pace, but that's what makes the end so rewarding is because games go to like 100 the whole time and it just kind of numbs you to it. And the way they just, I love a slow burn and the way it builds.
I appreciate the pace because it's not all story, right? There's moments where it's just like letting you take in everything. It's letting you take in all these characters.
My favorite thing in the first Red Dead Redemption was just literally like making a camp in the middle of the desert and just looking at the sky.
That was what I loved about Red Dead Redemption 1.
Taking in the sounds, like
when there's that moment in Red Dead 2 where you hear D'Angelo's Unshaken, and it's like, yeah, this is like the absolute like
no, one of my for as much as I don't like Red Dead Redemption 2, the first game was one of my favorite games of that generation, and that moment where you cross into Mexico for the first time.
Oh, and Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah, Jose Gonzalez plays on. Yeah, like that was. I had never experienced anything in a game like that up until it was one of the most poignant cinematic experiences I'd had in a video game up to that point. And honestly, I reloaded a save so I could experience it again. Because it was so that moment, and like, you're writing and there's a storm on the horizon, and I just, to this day, that crossing the border into Mexico in Red Dead Redemption is still one of my favorite gaming moments of all time.
The last point I'll make.
I real quick, I think I've said it on the podcast before, but I need CJ to hear it as well. So that moment was like hyped up for me. I played the first Red Dead Redemption years after it came out, and I was waiting the whole game, like the whole first half. I was like, when do I get to Mexico? When do I do this ride into Mexico? And I crossed the river, and I'm like obsessed. I obsessively save my games when I play because I'm like paranoid of losing progress. And I got off my horse to save the game, but I broke the scripting sequence.
Oh
so
no!
The song never played. So I just rode in like complete silence into Mexico.
I forgot. Yeah, if you get off your horse, the song just stops.
It never really started. It just, it broke the sequence somehow. So it's just like, I was like,
oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible, dude. You had such a poignant moment ruined for you. That's fucking awful.
I've been with you to talk about this game. Is there any points you want to make about Red Dead 2 in during my playthrough?
What was that, CJ?
Because I've never been on the podcast with Britt to talk about this game.
I just know for me, like, it's so hard for me to believe that Red Dead Redemption 2 is written by the same people that write like the GTA games and stuff. Like,
well, especially since like
I cannot stand those games. I don't think they're
I don't like them either
good at all. And the Red Dead games I think are phenomenal. Like, so like it just blows my mind that it's from, the same not even just like the same studio, but the same creative team.
Well, like I think one of the things that stuck out to me the most in that regard from Red Dead Redemption 1, when I was like, wow, this is the same. This is the same developer. Wow, is like the first time I walked into a saloon and a prostitute approaches John Marston. She's like, "Hey, why don't we go upstairs?" And he's like, "Sorry, I'm a married man." And I'm just like, wow, like, I was not expecting that from this development team, and it really kind of like really endeared me to John Marston as a character. And he's still one of my favorite protagonists in gaming. Like I fucking love John Marston. What a great fucking character. Britt, is there anything you wanted to say?
Is an even greater character.
I mean, I don't even remember who he was, but Britt, is there anything you wanted to say about Red Dead Redemption 2? Because you have not spoken about it on this podcast yet, and I know that you really love this game.
I have. It was Jeff and I's pick for the first year I was on the podcast.
Oh, well, I've got a shit memory in my old age, so.
You didn't remember who Arthur Morgan was?
Yeah, no, clearly.
Sure. Absolutely.
Order that mic,
John, did you just scrub any memory of anything related to this game out of your brain?
We need to make more room for Super Nintendo JRPGs.
Yes, always, Derek, always.
I think one of the things that's not talked about enough is how Arthur Morgan fights back against like misogyny and racism in the game.
God, yes.
It's one of the most fun things to do is when you have these like redneck hillbillies like being racist, and you know, you can basically go up and push them and tell them to shut the fuck up. Or you know, Sadie's a great representation, especially of a woman in that time who is basically told time and time again, like, no, you're gonna stay back at camp, you're gonna cook and clean just like the rest of the ladies do. And she's like, I don't want to fucking do that, like, I'm not gonna do that. And she's one of the most savage fucking brutal characters that's in the game. And I love there's a part in the game that John and Sadie do, and it's one of my favorite fucking parts in the game because it really just shows how much she came into her own after the events of Red Dead kind of unfolded, because you know, she wasn't really given a place. She kind of had to earn her place, and then after that it was like she made a life for herself after that, and she didn't need anybody or anything. So it was like, I loved having a character that was a female in the game that wasn't just like a farmhand or somebody that helped out. Like I loved Bonnie in Red Dead Redemption, but
I like Bonnie too.
Sadie just absolutely fucking stole my heart this game.
It's funny because Sadie's whole deal was what she was rescued, but then her life was immediately like gone to shit because of the people who rescued. Like when her house burnt, like they burned her house down. Micah burned her house down at the beginning,
and her husband, yeah. And it was like, you know, she could have cried, and she was like, no, I'm gonna get my fucking revenge. And that's exactly, you know, you have a mission with her, and that's exactly what you fucking do, is you go and get revenge. And she goes insane, and it's beautiful. It's, you know, there's so many beautiful moments, and Arthur is such a likable character, and it's so beautiful to see not only him but like the rest of the crew like slowly divide themselves, because when you first play the first few chapters, everybody is just like, it's like a typical cowboy like game. It's like everybody's having a good time. You go and you hunt and you cook and you party, and people are, you know, hooking up and flirting. And it's just like, as time goes on, it's like that starts to wear. And you know, Arthur obviously has a condition. It's a slow burn, not just with Arthur, but the entire world. You know, it's like Arthur's story, the story of everybody in the camp. You know, people start dying off slowly, people start leaving, and it's just like, it's such a heavy fucking game for where it starts, that it's just like,
the later parts when you like walk into the camp and there's just so few people there left,
and
like,
it's quiet and silent. Yeah, it's like, it's sad, and like, it does not prepare you for the ending that comes, despite the fact that it's preparing you, and you know what's going to happen.
No. Okay, so, and I'm sorry to keep dragging this on, but since I just started replaying it, I got to that cutscene where everything's seated. I'm like, oh man, fuck this game. Like I knew like this is like where this is like the beginning of the downfall, and I'm like, oh.
Well, and it's like, you play Red Dead Redemption, so you know who's going to end up a bad guy, and it sucks. Because Bill's funny, but you know he's going to end up being a piece of shit.
So I've got a question.
And it's hard because you see people that are gonna you know, that you like, that you form bonds with, and you're like, oh no, you're gonna be a piece of shit, and I'm gonna have to kill you later.
Like, I'm gonna have to kill you 10 years in the past.
Yeah.
So I've never played Red Dead Redemption either. Is it worth me just jumping straight to
the first
two?
one? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Well, okay.
Yes.
so
Well, the first one's not available on anything I own because Rockstar refuses to make it available.
Okay,
I've got
so
a PS3 you can use.
think of it like this: if the first one's The Godfather, the second one's Godfather Part 2, and both that it's like a sequel and a prequel.
Yeah.
So the second one's basically just a prequel, with like an epilogue that literally like bleeds into the first game.
Yeah.
I mean, just play the first game. It's on PC and
The first one's not on PC.
It's not.
The second. Sorry, the second.
Yeah, that's
It's incredible. I mean, on its own is incredible. And then if you really feel the need to like go back to the first game, it's weird. It's aged pretty well because it's made during that weird mid period of Rockstar where they're not really trying to be incredibly realistic and slow paced. It's still kind of arcadey.
Yeah.
You still have to be a little bit more deliberate with it. It's like in that weird GTA 4, GTA
Yeah,
5
yeah,
purgatory.
yeah.
And it's solid, but Red Dead 2 is like again, the it's not only just the story and the game, but it's this idea where it's like you're truly living in that world. Just like truly, you can only carry 2 guns at a time. You have to like manually remove your guns from your horse. You have to eat, sleep, work out,
shower,
develop bonds with people.
Thank God the game's gonna teach gamers about hygiene.
Yeah, it's like games are our ultimate fan. We can actually take a bath in a game. I either you can't go wrong with either one personally. I mean, just at this point, just play Red Dead 2. I think it's one of those things where you'll like the story is all it's a prequel anyway. You know what I'm saying? You'll
I think it's gonna have more of an impact if you do play the first one, but it's not gonna ruin your experience whatsoever if you just play the second one.
Because at this point, I like the first one is not easily and meaningfully within my reach. So
exactly.
So
I bought the first one recently on Xbox. So happy. I'm so fucking happy.
So I'll quickly go through mine. I'm going to talk about a game quickly, and I'm going to talk about a show. So the game I've been playing all week is I've been replaying Valkyrie Profile. And if you've never played Valkyrie Profile, of course, Valkyrie Elysium comes out on September 29th. And Valkyrie Profile Lenneth, which is a PSP port of the original PlayStation game, is dropping on PlayStation 4 and 5 along with it. Valkyrie Profile is one of my favorite games of all time. It's a PlayStation 1 JRPG based on Norse mythology. So you're playing as a Valkyrie, Lenneth, and you're serving, characters like Odin and Freya, and you are collecting souls to join your Einherjar, which is basically like an army of the dead. So every one of your characters is actually dead. Their spirits are part of your party. And the game is comprised of a 3D overworld, but once you enter a town or a dungeon, everything moves to 2D. And the sprite animations are like some of the best on the PlayStation. Think like Castlevania Symphony of the Night level stuff.
I've never played. Can you elaborate on what that means?
You never played?
Really good sprite work.
Really good, like incredible sprite and like
the level above 16-bit.
Yeah, like capes waving in the wind and like hair, like individual hair blowing as you're running, like stuff that you didn't see in a lot of PlayStation 1 games. It's just a gorgeous game. And when it switches to combat, it has one of the coolest, most intuitive battle systems in any game I've ever played. Yeah, people in chat.
Oh, you're talking about Valkyrie Profile, right?
Yeah, like Valkyrie Profile.
The sprites in the original one.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Gorgeous game.
Gorgeous. It made me want to play the game when I was younger, but I never did.
It's super gorgeous. And the battle system, you have 4 characters in your party, and each character is mapped to a specific button on the PlayStation controller. So you have a square button, a circle button, an X button, and a triangle button. And every time you press one of those buttons, that's your character does their action. And you can map different attacks to those buttons and create combos and break enemies' defenses. It's very, very fucking cool. And it's got a great story too. So I've been replaying Valkyrie Profile because I didn't want to wait for September to replay it, especially since Valkyrie Elysium is coming out. But the show I wanted to talk about is I watched before the podcast. I watched the first episode of Resident Evil on Netflix.
Oh god.
Okay, Derek. Here's the thing. It's not awful.
See, that's what everyone keeps saying is it's not awful, but if that's the praise you've got for it,
but it's also not great. And so pros and cons.
So if the first Mila Jovovich film is The Godfather, this one's The Godfather Part 2.
No, so if the first
fuck you, get on camera if you're gonna make shit like that.
So if the first Resident Evil is My Cousin Vinny, then I would say that Resident Evil Netflix is episode 4, season 3 of The Sopranos. If we're judging it on the first episode.
Is this new? Did it just come out?
It just came out.
It just came out today.
What where Lance Reddick is
Resident
Wesker.
Evil content. I feel like there's been like 1,000 adaptations this year.
So here's the thing.
Didn't they just do a movie too that was great?
Did.
Oh yeah, the movie was garbage.
It was horrible.
Garbage.
It was horrible.
I thought they were the same thing.
The movie was one of the worst fucking experiences I've ever had.
They had a bad live action movie, a bad CGI series, and a bad live action series all in the works.
So
none of them connected to each other.
The pros and the cons of Resident Evil on Netflix. The pros, the acting is really good across the board. I'll say that for it. Everybody is really giving it their all. Lance Reddick is an interesting choice for Wesker. He does not act like Wesker at all.
He's Silence from Silence from Horizon.
He's Silence from Horizon. He's also
what the fuck is this cast?
So an interesting choice for Wesker. He doesn't act like Wesker at all. Like so far, I'm like, okay, Lance Reddick is a great actor. I'm not understanding why he was cast as Wesker. The movie is set in 2036, but it flashes back to 2022, and the stuff happening in 2022 is far more interesting than the stuff happening in 2036. The
I did
zombie
not
designs
even know this was a thing. When did this get announced?
It was a few
was there even a trailer? Because I remember seeing nothing of this before today.
The zombie designs are bad. They're bad. They look like orcs in Mordor from Lord of the Rings. Like they
okay, hold
great.
on.
They're not fucking great at all. I just saw this shit in the Discord chat right here, and I don't know why you guys are posting this cursed bullshit. But yeah, here's the thing. I get what they're trying to do, because Resident Evil has been, as a franchise, has been adapted into film so many fucking times now. So they're trying to do something different. The problem is that it just does not feel like Resident Evil at all. It feels like generic zombie generic zombie TV show.
What's frustrating about it is it's like Resident Evil has good story. Like, I don't understand why they feel the need to change it so fucking much. Like, it doesn't have to be this big grandiose thing that they keep trying to make it be, and it's frustrating. Just take the base material and go with it. Like, take some liberties, sure, but you don't have to like.
Well, and like, there's like, they do like in-joke references to like, really memey Resident Evil moments. Like, I don't remember it being in the first episode, but apparently in some episode throughout the series, somebody says, they used to call me the master of unlocking. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, here's the problem. Like, the only 80% of what I've seen is the line about Zootopia porn. And
excuse me?
I have
seen the show's like terminally online, bro.
It's very online. It's extremely online.
There is a clip I've seen posted repeatedly.
This is in the show?
Yeah.
Yes, it's in the show.
Like one of the daughters mentions, I mostly just read Zootopia porn. Like, and there's also a bit where they're talking about
word for word.
Yeah. There's also a bit where they're talking about pirating the anime Decadence, which is not a good anime. And they call it super hard to get, which it's not. It's like on Crunchyroll. But it's on insert like popular anime torrent site. It's not that hard to find. It's on Ya, except they mispronounce it. It's not the point. But it's just like, can you? It feels like a lot of stuff was written and put in there just because it would make people yell about it on Twitter and thus draw attention to the show. And I kind of hate that naked forced viralness of it. Right? Like, and even now I'm talking about the dumb viral shit that's blowing up, but like, it's because you put dumb shit in the Resident Evil show.
This show, Derek, has moments that are very clearly meant to be like, here's a quick cut you can use in our Twitter commercial, because people will get this reference, because we're very
Why
online.
are they talking about Zootopia porn? Why?
Like,
the show
Derek, listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
And I'm a little disappointed that you're the one that I have to explain this to.
No, I understand the concept of furries, right?
No. But it kind of goes hand in hand with what goes on in that show. So I think they were trying to reach out to like that crowd of the Resident Evil fans.
No, monster fuckers.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, but can we not?
Oh no, I agree.
I'm not here to kink shame,
I think that's what they were trying to
but I think that's what I've been doing anyway.
Group a Venn diagram of people who would watch Zootopia porn. Then Resident Evil fans, and then in between you have
So
the fans
CJ,
of the Resident
CJ,
I'm
Evil-
can
out.
you bring that? CJ,
Bring
can you
it
bring that
closer?
closer to the
Hold-
camera,
hold on.
please?
'Cause I gotta-
Please, I need to. Oh, hey, Cam's in the chat. Cam, what's up, friend?
Hold up.
Good time
I'll
for
show
Cam
you
to
guys
join.
my
Yeah,
my
good
time.
time for Cam to join the chat. Good time for anyone to
All
join
right.
the chat.
So
CJ, can you get that diagram real close to the camera, buddy?
Yeah, get it real close.
what are we
Get a
looking
good shot in there.
It's,
Let's see.
it's
Okay.
right behind a Garfield calendar I had. All right, so here.
Oh, perfect. That's even better. That's even better.
Okay, so here are people who watch Zootopia porn, right? Then here are Resident Evil fans, and then right there is this Resident Evil show. It's like this perfect intersection right there.
Someone clip this. That's perfect. CJ, I really appreciate the scientific methodology.
That's what I'm here for.
That
you
goes
put
on
into
par
this.
with my couch drawing earlier.
Yo, dude,
My
your couch drawing
diagram.
was your couch drawing was excellent. By the
John
way,
had to
Derek.
pull that up from some secret database just so you can get like those like schematics like perfect. Like I commend you.
Yeah, that's fucking fantastic. That
Jeff's like, why are the microphones dicks? And it's like,
is this the anarchy
do you
symbol? What
think-
is this?
Do you
Like,
think that anything in that image turned out the way I wanted it to?
no, CJ, that I think honestly, I think that is the most scientific this podcast has ever been, and I appreciate that.
I'm gonna throw it away before they assassinate me for
Yeah, no, you don't want. Yeah, the last thing you want is
We got to keep the secret. It's a good thing we
is-
didn't show that live to like dozens and dozens
world.
of people.
I know. Yeah,
everyone listening
thank
won't have
God
any
for
idea.
that.
No, that's
what
true. The
fuck I'm
listeners
talking
won't notice. So
Like someone's driving right now. It's like I want to see the Zootopia porn like Venn diagram.
Well, now that we're done talking about Resident Evil and Zootopia porn,
yeah, an hour into the show, let's get to the news topics.
well, to be fair, our news topics are small. So I'm glad that we were able to
we've needed the goof
this.
off time. Clearly.
Oh yeah,
We
no,
really have.
I just think it's funny.
Justin, you're not being very 420 friendly right now.
Hey, real quick, before we go any further, I want to address someone in chat. I see that our friend Sarah, my game daughter, has joined the chat. Sarah, I know that you've been, struggling with some stuff recently. I just want to let you know that we all love you, and you're always welcome here in our community. And whatever you're going through right now, I know you're going to get through it. Okay, all right. News topics. What do we got first?
Well, we assembled two
I-
stories of news corporation or not news corporations, news stories of gaming corporations, like maybe doing a good for once. Like what the fuck? So
Doing what they
Bustin, you
should
brought
do,
us
like,
the first one.
Just being decent.
Yeah, so
respectable.
the first one is makes me very happy. So, the other day, Naughty Dog announced that it had actually gone gold on The Last of Us Part 1, the remake of the first Last of Us, and which is very early for them to hit that milestone. But there's a couple tweets from some longtime employees at Naughty Dog that said that this is the first time they have made a game without any crunch.
And fucking tastic.
And they're actually really proud, and this is the first step in reworking their development pipeline, production pipeline to have a better work culture. And as somebody that's been a huge fan of Naughty Dog, it makes me very happy to see this, because as great as their games are, they were one of the most notorious studios for crunch in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's been an issue for a really long time. Granted, this is a game that's a remake. It's not like a full-scale, from the ground up new project. So there still are going to be challenges for them in the future to keep this going. But given the way that these developers have been talking about it and have said that it was such an amazing experience compared to the previous games that they worked on, some of them that even worked on the original release of The Last of Us, it's really, really great to see. And I know, part of the criticism towards this remake was, so they're going to be crunching their developers into the ground for like a cash grab remake kind of thing. And it's good to see that that's not the case. So yeah, and I also just want to put an emphasis that Rockstar also was really notorious, and a lot of articles came out about work at Rockstar, and it sounds like that situation has improved as well. So
2019 or 2020, they were talking about how they're kind of hopeful during development of Red Dead Online and everything like
it sound and like these are two of the most, these are incredibly acclaimed studios, but they're also two of the most notorious ones for crunching people. And I just am really happy to hear that these reports have finally been taken seriously by management at these studios. And I just want to remind people that, you can still you can support the people that work there, the work that they put out, and, be wary and critical of work practices like this, because it'll only end better for the team. When
I thought
they
about
have your
that when I
support.
was just replaying Uncharted 4. I was like, man, this game looks amazing. I could see the hair on his chest. Somebody worked 5 fucking weekends to do that. It's
Yeah.
Like, imagine think about how much time it took to program in the shrinking and expanding horse testicles in Red Dead Redemption 2,
or the ear cartilage, fucking the light shining through.
The true attention to detail.
But and also they one of the people have said that they also did this completely. They also said that they have hit every quality standard that they have for Naughty Dog. They have not skimped on any features or detail or anything to be able to make it a better work environment, which is even better.
Well, the funny thing is, and we've talked about this,
it ends that argument that, well, maybe it's necessary for us to get the results that we want.
Yeah. Well, I bang this drum every time the topic of crunch has come up, which we haven't talked about crunch and overworking people on the show in a hot minute, but every time I always bring up the very simple, observable, studied fact that you start working people, 50, 60 hour weeks regularly, and their productivity drops to shit, and they start actually working less than if you just worked them 30-hour weeks, because every hour they're there, it's so much of it's wasted effort. They're making mistakes. People have to go back in and clean up after themselves or clean up after other overworked employees. And a lot of times in the gaming industry, some of these people are talking about working 80 to 100-hour weeks, for weeks and weeks on end. And it's like, you literally could have just had them all work 30-hour weeks and they would be refreshed and they would have gotten more work done. And
they'd also probably make less mistakes. When you're that burnt out, you're going to make more mistakes, which leads to more bugs in the game, which means that it gets drawn out even further.
So to jump on what Justin just said, like, it's not a perfect analogy, but in the Marine Corps, we used to say slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And, if you take your time and you get it done right the first time, you're moving slow.
Phrasing?
But what's that?
I said, are we still doing phrasing?
Slow. Anyway, if you're working at a nice, slow, steady pace, but you're actually engaged in your work and you're paying attention to what you're doing and you can stay focused, then you're going to have fewer messes to clean up later. You're going to have fewer bugs to iron out. You're going to have less bullshit to fix. And you're
also going to lose less people when you finish a project.
Right. Exactly.
That I know has also been a huge issue for a lot of these studios. Ubisoft has even said that their work culture has made it hard for them to recruit and staff up for a lot of their projects.
I'll fucking bet it's Ubisoft.
So, these changes had to happen for a lot of reasons. And I'm just really glad that we finally have good news on this front, because it really seemed like a lot of people were willing to ignore it, or, the management was willing to ignore it for a long time. So hopefully it continues.
Yeah. I feel really good. Look, I'm sure there are still people who work at Naughty Dog who had to do some bullshit hours, to get this game shipped. I think, I don't want to say that it's unavoidable, because it's not. There's a world where people don't have to put those kind of hours in to create art like this. But in our current economic system, it is somewhat unavoidable that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But it is very refreshing to see so many people say that working conditions have meaningfully changed, and that we went from one of the worst offenders at Naughty Dog to, reducing or eliminating crunch for many employees on this project. And even if this is certainly not where it needs to be behind the scenes, it's still good to call out and congratulate when companies make the right move in that regard.
I think, doing the remake, as like a test bed for new production practices is also probably a good thing, because then you can identify, okay, what worked, what didn't, for when we go on to bigger, more from the ground up projects.
Well, I think that's just a thing that kind of needs to be addressed too, is it is a remake. So I imagine that, like, if this were a brand new game, things might have been different. Like, it's still good to see, but like there's still something in the back of my head that says,
like, will they
if
keep
this
it
were
up?
a new game, like, is this
that's going to be the next big test, because it does seem like they're also taking their time on Last of Us Factions, the new multiplayer project. So it seems like that will also probably likely have a healthier development cycle, but it's their next big single player project after that I think is going to be the real test.
That was my whole thing when I was like reading all this, and I was like, this is great. Like, I love seeing this, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, this is a game that's already like has bones, like massive bones established. Like, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of work that went into it. Like, I'm sure there's a shit ton of work that went into it, but it's different than creating a game from the ground up, you know? Like,
but it's not like they made The Last of Us Part 3.
Like, I don't want to get hope and be like, this is awesome, and then like their next big game, it'd be like, oh no, back to fucking the way it was.
But I also think that a lot of developers at the studio speaking out publicly about it means that if things get bad again, I think a lot more people are going to hold their feet to the fire for it.
I'd like to hope so.
I want to think. I want to hope that you're right. I honestly don't think that I don't think that we're looking at like this massive sea change across the industry in regards to crunch. It is nice that the big developers like Naughty Dog are finally starting to recognize, acknowledge, and take steps to solve the problem. Past experiences and past stories that we've heard about the shit that goes on in this industry give me pause as to whether or not we're seeing true widespread change. But for someone like Naughty Dog to be doing this stuff, that is an encouraging sign. Maybe I'm just the next
step will be for them to let go of Troy Baker and bring in other people for their projects.
Yeah, stop hiring Troy Baker and Laura Bailey. Jesus
Laura
Christ.
Bailey's not a problem anymore, man.
Laura
She's
Bailey's
busy.
Look, Laura Bailey she's working, she's fine. She's not annoying on Twitter, which is the worst sin anyone can commit.
Fine, stop hiring Troy Baker. He's in literally every fucking game.
Yeah, Laura Bailey's just off doing Critical Role and charity stuff, and let
her be in games.
And WoW, she's a big Blizzard voice actress.
Troy Baker needs to be like given a swirly.
He needs all right. Well, I can't really top that, but I was gonna say he needs to just like how they have like the Disney vault. They just need like a voice actor vault where it's like, let's just take all of these white dudes that have way too much star power right now and just vault them for a little bit.
Nolan North seems like a decent guy, but he's got to go too just for a while.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of been on a bit of a break for a little while.
Yeah, I haven't heard him in a bit, so that's good.
Again, you guys are overlooking. It's fine if they're getting a lot of work in their games, as long as they shut the fuck up outside of their games. Because I don't know if you guys remember the fucking press cycle that was The Last of Us 2.
Yeah. The man in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Who cares if someone says the game's long? Shut up, Troy Baker. You made your money. You're gonna be in 50 other games by the end of the year.
The only guy I don't want to vault is Darren DePaul. Darren DePaul can stick around. But everyone else
you always need somebody to play someone who sounds like a weird little pervert.
Yeah, like
and Darren DePaul's great for that.
Okay, so this is the difference. When I hear Darren DePaul, I think of fucking big beefy Reinhardt.
But you also think of someone who sounds like maybe they shouldn't be allowed near a high school.
So Blaine asked who's Darren DePaul. Darren DePaul did the voice of Reinhardt in Overwatch and also did the voice of Arden Izunia in Final Fantasy 15. So the guy's got range. He can voice. He also did J. Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Wow, he did really good.
That's a cancelable offense for me.
John?
What's that?
What was the character you said for Final Fantasy 15?
Arden Izunia.
Oh, Arden. I was like, I don't even remember who that is.
Yeah.
That's
he's the-
fair, Jeff. That's fair.
He's
It's
the
fine.
bad guy. No, Jeff, whatever you say can't hurt me, man. But yeah, so I saw something in chat. So the other thing that we wanted to mention was has to do with Nintendo. And Derek, why don't you say this? You go ahead, Derek.
Hell yeah. So here's the thing. Gay marriage is not a thing in Japan, which is bullshit, but Japan is a very conservative country, unfortunately. Or I should say this, Japan's politics, like its political leaders are very conservative because there is a deeply entrenched, much older, much more conservative population, despite the fact that their middle-aged and especially younger population lean obviously much more all over the place, but their entrenched political and corporate power is extremely conservative. So gay marriage is not legal in Japan. Nintendo basically completely unnecessary, right? There was nothing going on that caused them to do this. Somebody just woke up and decided we're gonna cause problems on purpose today. And they put out a press release stating that Nintendo acknowledges like gay marriage and acknowledges like I don't have the exact wording on their support of like people of various identities. They recognize
same-sex unions. That's what they said.
Yeah, but even if the government of Japan does not, and that's really kind of unusual. That's
when you have a game like Fire Emblem, how can you not?
Well, that's true,
right?
But it's a we're kind of used to corporations in the U.S. making, even if they're just pithy statements, in support of various marginalized folks or various causes where they maybe don't even have to put their money where their mouth is, but they can say things that are against what are sometimes the popular politics. And you don't do that shit in Japan. Corporations don't speak up about this shit.
Yeah, like I remember it was really obvious when like all of Sony first party studios were making statement about reproductive rights.
Yeah.
Every single one made a statement except for their two Japanese studios.
Yeah. What?
So some shit's going down to the Discord chat.
Oh no, I can't see it. So
don't show it. Don't show it.
Don't
I
show
won't.
it. Don't
I
show
won't.
it.
No, because I'm gonna fucking arrested.
Yeah, don't show it.
Have a look after the show, Derek. That's
okay.
all I gotta say.
Okay.
Wow.
But anyway, and I think it's
stop it. Damn it.
Wow.
DJ, I'm the only one that can keep it together when you pull this shit. Like,
the problem is like I'm just like, oh, let me make sure like nothing's going on. Like, let me make sure the chat's all good. And then I read that shit. And I'm like, oh no, it's just CJ
how much
shit.
danger.
It's just me.
I so badly want to check, and I cannot.
Is someone gonna read it?
No.
Nobody
can read.
it.
No,
I'll
we're
check
not reading that.
I'll check it after the stream is off, I guess.
Because then John's
whatever
gonna
the
be
fuck is
forced to,
going
Let's
on.
transition to the next topic.
But anyway, well, so here's what's important about Nintendo, right?
Okay.
So they're going to acknowledge like common law type unions the same way they acknowledge marriage, especially in regards to like benefits in the workplace, despite the fact that Japan does not recognize same-sex marriage. So like that's really cool, and we've known for a long time Nintendo is one of the rare like really good places to work in the games industry in Japan. We know that they pay above well above average wages.
I was going to say they pay really well, right?
They work their employees on average work below average, not just for gaming, but below average for the Japanese workforce in general, like hours a week. Like it's a really good pro worker place to be, which sometimes is weird and kind of at odds with how socially conservative Nintendo can be. But I think that makes it all the more important that Nintendo, of all companies, is coming out and kind of, regardless of intention, rubbing a little dirt into, the eye of the government in that regard, and saying like, hey, this is wrong. And we're going to make a public statement about it, and we're going to treat our people differently.
Now, I obviously, Jack, I just want to jump in here real quick. Obviously, like Nintendo can't legalize gay marriage in Japan. So like this
No.
is symbolic.
Right. Well,
but
it's more than symbolic because again, they're going to treat when it comes to benefits, like
so
that,
see
where people-
that's good. That's
Yes.
the shit right there.
So they're going to
Like,
count. They're going to count like common law unions the same as marriage in regards to benefits
That's the
for
good
their
shit.
workers, which is like a big
That's-
deal.
Yeah,
Because that's
the awesome
90% of
shit.
the fight around gay marriage is the fact that, for example, before Obergefell versus Hodges here in the United States, like a lot of like common law and civil unions like did not get you benefits, in regards to like power of attorney, living will, insurance related, like tax, all kinds of bullshit, bureaucratic bullshit. And yeah, and as Blaine points out in chat, homophobia in Japan is often less about like,
Slurs.
demonizing
yeah.
queer folks so much as acting like they simply do not exist at all. So the act of speaking up and saying that these people exist and are the same, especially to us as a company, it is really, really unusual to make those kind of waves and to shake things up. So
And can I piggyback off that real quick?
Please.
yeah.
Please.
So,
please.
I took Japanese for 2 years, and my my sensei in high school, she was from Japan, born and raised, and it's not just about like social issues like that. Am I lagging for anybody else?
No,
you're
I
not
don't
lagging
think
for
so.
me.
Okay. So it's not just about like it's just in general, like if you see something, you don't say anything. Like there are women who get like touched and groped and raped on trains all the time, and it's like taboo to like say anything about it, right? You just like you look down, you look the other way, and you mind your own business, and it's a big problem in Japan.
Wouldn't do well in Japan.
It's and we talked about this because we watched a movie in Japan where it was happening, and it's kind of sad because it was like a little rom-com, but it happened to a woman on the train, and the dude who stuck up and fought for this girl was like this nerdy like computer geek, and we ended up watching that movie, but she had to explain like the reason why this scene and this movie is so important is because the people don't do this. People in Japan, like if you see a crime, you don't report it, you just mind your own business. So the fact, like, there's an even bigger like huge implication about Nintendo doing this, because it's not just about this one secluded issue. It's like they're taking a stance against this one issue, yes, but the implication behind that statement is huge because it goes against the whole turn the other way thing.
The whole
right?
cultural attitude of keep your head down and keep your nose clean and stay out of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and actually, if you would you get in more trouble for defending somebody than you would than the person who actually is doing the crime would. Like that's how backwards their like harassment and social issues there are. It's bad.
Yeah.
So, like, do we think that this could lead other corporations in Japan to follow Nintendo's lead? Do you think this could be the start of something?
Maybe for gaming corporations.
Yeah, I think you might see. I think this is also Nintendo's at this point because broadly speaking, younger people are very fed up in Japan, like especially younger people, with a lot of cultural norms and a lot of the especially very like socially conservative views. Because guess what? There's a lot of gay people in Japan. There's a lot of trans people in Japan. Queer folks and trans folks are highly fetishized, like even worse than in the US in a lot of ways, in a lot of Japanese media and nerd culture. And a lot of younger folks are fucking tired of it. And the thing is, we're at this point now where a lot of, again, when I say younger in Japan, we're sometimes talking about in 30s and 40s, not 20s like we think of here, because everybody's kind of been held back so much by the sheer number of people in their 60s, 70s, 80s who are refusing to retire and holding up
That sounds
political
familiar.
positions. I know we're starting to see that a lot worse here, like it's been in Japan for a long time. But you're finally seeing a lot more of these younger people getting into positions where they have even a tiny modicum of power and are pushing back against that. I would say it's not that I think Nintendo is going to be like, you know, has broken the door open or anything. Because I'm sure this
it's
isn't
huge.
the first time.
It's a huge deal,
and I
for
think
them
it's a
even
sign.
To one, to speak out on gay issues, and two, just to speak out in general is huge.
Yeah, I think it's a sign that more and more. It's a sign of sea change, right? I think Nintendo being willing to speak out is more of a symptom of change than a cause of change, if that makes sense.
Hopefully.
I would hope, yeah.
Yeah,
old people have to die eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully.
Look, I mean, you said it, not me. Yeah, so this was extremely unexpected. Extremely cool to see. Do we have any idea what the reaction from the Japanese public has been like?
I got no fucking clue.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I know what
No,
the Twitter
I've only
reaction's
seen
been like,
reporting
which has been
on-
incredible, but you know.
And to be clear, like most of the bullshit kind of arrayed against gay marriage in Japan comes from the government, not necessarily the Japanese people, right? That's kind of what I'm taking away from this.
It's hard. I mean, again, it's extremely generational.
Okay.
You know, I mean, again, it's very much like it is. It's actually very similar structurally to how things are in the U.S., right? Where broadly speaking, the public in the U.S. is for gay marriage, and broadly speaking, the people of Japan are not homophobic. I think where it gets different is that conservative power is a little bit more traditionally entrenched in Japan versus the way things are here in the U.S., where it's in a lot more turmoil because it's, you know, conservative power is technically a minority, but is able to use rules.
It's deeply rooted into a lot of old laws and traditions, and
it's very cancerous in that regard.
Yeah, it's
But I think culturally, we're a lot more used in the U.S. to making some fucking noise, and in Japan, you just, well, that sucks, but I can't do anything about it. It's not my problem, and you know, we'll get on with it. So, there's it's a different set of challenges. I don't know that I'd say it's much more intense than us. I mean, it is, because gay marriage is legal here and it's not there. But then again, our Supreme Court is thinking about overturning that.
Who knows how long that's going to last?
I can't point fingers too hard. So.
All right. Well, I think we've probably run out of our topics for tonight.
So there is one more that has to do with politics in Japan.
Oh, there is?
So
shit.
Oh
yes.
Yes. That's my transition. So former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated last week, and several right-wing organizations all over the world have latched on to what was initially a 4chan post blaming Hideo Kojima for being the one who carried out the assassination. And a lot of people talking about this have kind of been making jokes like, oh, this is so silly. Of course this would happen to Kojima. But like, I just kind of want to reemphasize how fucking scary that is.
Yeah.
That like they literally just found a game developer that they don't agree with the politics of that looks vaguely like the person that carried out this assassination and are targeting for him. Kojima Productions has outright said that they are going to be pursuing legal charges against,
as they fucking should,
which they should. It's even wilder because like the suspect has been in custody for a long time, but people were still trying to pin it on Kojima for some reason. Really fucked up.
I didn't even know that was a
I don't
thing.
think was it that they were pinning it on Kojima specifically, or they just incorrectly used a photo of him?
No, like literally they were trying to claim it was him, like as saying it was like it was using a bunch of pictures.
I mean, it was a photo that's
Kojima's
clearly of him because Kojima's recognizable, right? He's a celebrity. I could pick his face out of a crowd anywhere, but I thought they were just using a photo of him to say this is the suspect, yada yada. That they weren't saying like Hideo Kojima did it.
I mean, I think it might have been that, but I don't really think that the difference matters.
The impression
Not
I
when
got
it's
is
that
they were-
recognizable of a
I
celebrity.
mean, also
right?
like they were
Like-
saying, oh yeah, and this guy has, you know, leftist politics in his work and stuff like that. So like
we don't claim Kojima.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that this is the shit that gets people killed.
Yeah.
And
It's like every time there's a mass shooting and fucking Tim Pool or somebody or Ian Miles Chong posts a picture of some random person of color or trans person that 4chan circulated and is like, this is the killer, this person right here. They did it because they're a leftist.
That's exactly what they did.
And you see it with every
at Charlottesville
single one.
when Heather Heyer was killed, and everybody was like, "Oh, here's a picture of the guy. He's a known leftist." Blah blah blah. And turns out it was a fucking neo-Nazi. So
Yeah.
you know,
Every school shooting, you know. And of course,
Yeah.
it turns out that the person who assassinated Shinzo Abe did so basically because Abe was not right wing enough. Like,
Yep.
So
and also like
Yukio Mishima thing.
this is at least a fortunate situation where this is somebody that can actually afford legal response.
Yeah.
Not everyone
and has
can.
some level of recourse compared to a lot of these targets that we've seen in the US. But like, it's really messed up, and a lot of people have just been kind of laughing at it because it's Kojima. But I mean, also I think this also kind of feeds into like, people love making conspiracy theories up about Kojima. Like we've seen it in a lot of gaming discourse, and like I've made fun of it plenty, but like this kind of puts into perspective how harmful that kind of mindset can be when you're constantly like looking for conspiracies surrounding the same person who's literally just a game developer that's watching movies all the time.
It's such a weird version of a parasocial relationship.
You know, like the domino meme where it's like, you know, it goes from people thinking Death Stranding's a secret Metal Gear Solid game, and then it goes all the way up to people accusing Hideo Kojima of assassinating Shinzo Abe. Like that's basically it at this point.
Yeah.
That's basically where we're at now.
all right, well, now we are brushing up against our time. Great podcast tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to chat. Chat was nice and lively. That's exactly what we all like to see. We got some good stuff coming up next week. We may have a very, very big guest coming up. This guest is coming on soon. We're just trying to nail down dates because this guest is very, very busy. So we will have more to say about that hopefully next week. Extra Life. We got Extra Life. We're already planning for Extra Life.
We gotta stop calling it Extra Life because I don't think it's gonna be Extra Life.
Well, it's not really Extra Life.
It's gonna be 2 weeks before Extra Life, and it may not
We're
be.
doing a big charity fundraiser this fall.
That might have all of us together in the
same room.
Have all of us.
Might.
there.
All of us.
Will.
Derek will. Everybody's going to be.
I'm going to.
Everybody is here.
Probably for the people listening, you might not realize it, but like some of us have never met in person before. So, a lot of times, you know, if you're listening to the live show, you're like, how's it going to be different with everybody in the same room? But like, I have not met Jeff or CJ in person before. I have only met Britt once in person before. Like it's going to be a really big deal and a really special thing for us. And getting together to do something for a good cause, and also to like actually see each other and interact.
I'm gonna hug everybody.
Is really exciting.
Okay. I do need to address something that Jeff said. Jeff asked, "Where's my whiskey glass, John?" So Jeff, my lazy ass just kept failing to get it in the mail. It's sitting here.
You said it was in the mail.
Hey, remember when I asked? Remember
like,
what we said earlier about bugging you 3 more times to do a thing?
Bro,
Look,
was gonna order that.
John,
mic
your
the
ADHD
day-
is legendary,
the day we
man.
all get there. No, he's gonna forget the mic, and he's gonna pray that Amazon next day gets there while we're all there together.
Look, listen up, you fuck. Look. First of all, Jeff, your glass will be here waiting for you when you get here.
Jeff, you gotta have faith. All right. John has a plan.
His plan is for me to fly to Virginia on my own time.
You gotta fly to Tahiti.
Exactly.
Look. look.
As soon as you get on the plane, he'll be like, "Hey Jeff, I just remembered to ship that thing to you. Don't worry about it. It's on the way, buddy. It's on the way." I feel bad. It's getting
Like at this point, we all like. I would love a whiskey glass. I'm, like we all need one.
All right. Okay. You know what? I am going to have whiskey glasses here for fucking everyone when they get here. Everybody gets a whiskey glass. Everybody gets a whiskey glass when you get here. Even Justin, who doesn't drink
Baja
whiskey.
Blast out of my whiskey glass.
Yeah, I want you to sip some fucking Baja Blast.
No, you got to. I'm sure John still has some ginger ale or gingerbread Mountain Dew left.
No, it's still there, Justin. It's still there.
I don't.
It's disgusting. That's why.
Horrible. It's really fucking bad. But you know what we can have? There's Baja Blast. Now that you can get it outside of Taco Bell, we can have all the fucking Baja Blast we want.
I mean, it's only for the summer though.
I'll pour some.
So you got to stock up.
Damn it! I feel like Jeff. I'm sorry. I feel like an asshole now. Damn it!
Shit posting.
Look, Jeff. You're getting your whiskey glass at our fundraiser when you get here, okay? Everybody's getting a whiskey glass. Everybody's getting a whiskey glass.
I want to point out, we said you were going to do that
and post receipts in chat.
We said that you were going to give it to him when he comes in person as a joke. And now you're like, look, I'm going to do it.
Honestly, to be clear, I don't care about the glass. I just want to meet everyone.
Yeah, no,
I do not
I care about the glass now.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Damn it! What's in the fucking box? He just told you.
We're gonna have so many dumb videos of all of us when we get together. It's gonna be a gold mine.
It is going to be.
And it's all I'm gonna contribute is just my cuddle pictures of Moo and Dottie.
Yeah, no, that like Brit. I feel like
I miss them. I feel like they miss me too.
I feel like Moo and Dottie like fell in love with Brit. Like it was really cute. I'm gonna get Jeff a fucking Final Fantasy VI whiskey glass.
That's
because you've lost his SDGC glass.
Sorry, Jeff, but I do have this.
He realized it. He forgot
a glass honoring a game you've never played.
Sorry, Jeff, but I do have this whiskey glass with the logo of the legendary game for the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy VI. If you'd like that.
Hey man, I got a glass. Are you a Munsters fan? Are you
I've got the Star Wars pint glass I've had for like 10 years that's faded in the dishwasher.
I've got my light up Lord of the Rings goblets from Burger King, all ready to go.
Yeah. Now that we're on the discussion of cool ass cups, when Iron Man came out in theaters, I got this cool fucking cup, and it's literally just Iron Man, and it has a straw coming out of it. Cool as shit.
Hold up, now I gotta show this because we're talking about cups, and I know we're over.
I don't think we're getting off tonight.
While CJ prepares that,
Rick.
Did you turn on bug that Christine got me when we first started dating?
We are still doing phrasing. Hey!
So this is a tiki cup that is Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
I also have a xenomorph one of these.
Hey!
So at this point,
I didn't realize you were still going to get on, Finn.
SDGC show and tell.
Everybody listening is so fucking angry at us right now.
Look who it is, guys.
I'm not editing this part out of the podcast.
Look who it is.
Fuck it.
So we got a lot of fun topics tonight. We're talking Naughty Dog. We're talking Nintendo. We're talking Red Dead.
Look,
I talking about Hideo Kojima.
I know the show's almost over. I just wanted to pop in and let Jeff know how much I love the whiskey glass John sent me.
Send you a whiskey glass, you fucking liar.
It's really, it was really sweet of him. I didn't even ask for one.
I didn't send you a fucking whiskey glass.
Unprovoked, got a whiskey glass.
It has like Jeff's address crossed out with Finn's written underneath it.
Yeah, actually, the letter said this was supposed to go to Canada, but fuck that dude. And I thought that was a weird way to.
No. He didn't even send it to you. Don't lie. He sent it to Anna.
No,
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
I did. I said.
John took one look at the cost of shipping across to Canada and was like, I don't like them that much. So
I mean, look, shipping to Canada is expensive.
Can we send Jeff back to Canada with bourbon in his checked luggage?
So
you can.
I won't lie. I was thinking about all the shit I want to like order. I'm just gonna order a bunch of shit to John's place from the States and bring it back with me. There's so much stuff I can't get here, and I like.
You should add Jeff. Jeff, that's actually a really smart fucking idea. You should do that.
I'll hit you up with my Amazon US wish list.
Why do I have the entire Assassin's Creed collection coming to my front door? What's going on?
Jeff is gonna buy bourbon, an AR-15 and just.
I don't think you can check that in luggage across.
You gotta get the real. You gotta get the real market.
That's it. Like Finn was struggling to find other like American ass things, but you know what?
Like
alcohol and guns. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Now, everybody watching in chat and everybody listening, imagine this, but in the same room with a lot of.
There's
going to
be so many cell phone videos of the 7 of us, and it's going to be a beautiful fucking nightmare.
My favorite is just Derek slowly looking at John and tilting his head and just going, "You can't just call people white, John."
I can't wait to do another Nuzlocke and have them just ruin it.
There was such intensity in Derek's face, like he really meant it. Like
he was so mad.
Everyone's gonna have a cell phone video from a different angle, like the JFK footage of like all the shit that's gonna go.
Oh no, CJ!
You'll be able to reconstruct Hangover style all the bullshit over that weekend.
For fucking Extra Life.
We're gonna carry on the memory of Texas Pete and peace. Like it's and Noodle and who was the other one? Beef Stick. What other fucking
Beef Stick, John?
Who the fuck? Like, we had so many stupid Pokemon names. I can't remember them all. Sugma.
Slugma
was an actual name.
Texas Pete was a Slugma.
Yeah. Okay. Right. That's what it was. All right, guys. Well, we are well past our time here. Yeah. Finn, I just wanted to pull you into the podcast real quick so you could say hi to everyone.
Thank you.
I love you, buddy.
We miss you, Finn. Speaking of Finn, don't forget now every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Finn and I are live right here on SDGC or on Twitter, twitch.tv/official SDGC. I'm like halfway drunk now. And we are doing Dual Daddies live every Sunday night. So please stop in and check us out doing that. We got a big guest coming up soon, so be excited for that. We got all our links in the Discord right there. And we got a lot of cool stuff coming up later this year.
Patreon. Subscribe to our Patreon.
Get your ass in the Patreon.
Finn has an important thing to pitch.
It's not even a pitch. I want to point out, you know what? I was going to wait until it actually dropped, but I don't care. Our boy Derek lent his dulcet tones in an official video game trailer that will be on the internet promoting an upcoming game. Derek provided the voiceover for the trailer that I made, and I think that's dope as hell.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I knew
cool
this and I
that.
couldn't say anything about it.
Well, of course not.
I didn't know.
When will we see this?
It's been approved by the client and has now been sent to the IP holder for the anime in Japan to approve. And once they approve it, it goes up, and then you get to hear Derek's lovely voice.
Derek's voice is like it's like a combination of like a really rich leather and a warm oaky bourbon. Like
I was gonna say bourbon.
Yeah,
that's Derek reads Utopia porn.
I want to point out that
that'd be fantastic. Derek, you should read. Yeah,
that's a new Sunday night.
That's an Extra Life reward. Donate so much money, and Derek will read smut.
Yes,
genuinely, yes, absolutely. I will.
Derek, you've got to read furry porn.
Listening to Derek,
why is that doesn't bother me?
Yeah. Do you not know who Derek is? Come on.
Yeah. I'm extremely open-minded.
If anything, if you donate at a certain level, you can choose the genre of smut he reads. Like, let it.
I'm getting into a lot of danger here all of a
yes,
sudden.
You
Donkey Kong smut. Let's go.
Derek with the "this is no longer a safe space" reaction. I'm in danger.
I want to hear Derek. I want to hear Derek read some Mario X Sonic smut. Like that's what we got to do.
There's so much.
Bombs
Just
from the dongos.
Sonic Mpreg smut. Can't wait.
All right,
Good night, everybody.
We're cutting this shit off. Everybody,
You're all
remember,
going to hell, and I'm already there.
kindness costs nothing. Good night.